John Mayer's guitar tone is considered to be one of the holy grail guitar tones out there, and odds are, if you're coming to my channel, you probably think along those lines. And what's really amazing about the solo tour that John just performed, and of course there are more legs up and coming, is that on this tour we get a very rare opportunity to hear his lead guitar tone rather unobstructed by a full band mix. Now, there are two examples that we're going to look at in today's video, and in the John Mayer gear and tone community, it's actually something I don't see talked about that much. But the fact that when John is performing changing, he's playing the piano, and then he'll loop the piano and solo over top of that with the Silver Sky, or even the example with Greg Phillinganes when he came out in Palm Desert to perform Gravity. Those are two really awesome examples of just hearing John's guitar tone with some piano in the mix. It's very rare that you actually get to hear it just so raw and more or less unobstructed by the rest of the band. So let's take a quick look at the changing solos and that tone first. Now, just comparing those two different clips there, I think it's really apparent just how much more raw and pure almost we get to hear John's guitar sound from the solo tour. And I think that's actually one of the coolest things about the solo tour. I know it was mainly an acoustic tour. That's what he played 98% of the night. But the fact that we just got to hear just a little bit of lead guitar tone through this tour that's rather, again, as I said before, unobstructed, it's really awesome. And there's another really great look that we got for a one-off performance of Gravity in Palm Desert, where Greg Phillinganes came out and performed on the piano with John for Gravity. And again, you get to hear Gravity, but not as you normally get to hear it, where John's soloing, and then you just have some piano to complement it, and Greg's piano playing is absolutely beautiful. But it just creates a whole different dynamic where that's all you're hearing. There's no bass guitar, there's no second or third guitars playing behind the lead guitar. You don't have all of the other instruments that are, well, they're complementing John's guitar tone. Again, the whole point here is that you just get a very different listen to it. You get a very different look at what it actually sounds like out of the usual context in a full band mix.
Just keep me right here.
Now, I really think that the lead tone we got from John on the solo tour, although most nights it was just for a very brief moment, is some of the best tones he's had. I think it's right up there with some of the best tones in the Mayer eras across the board. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on the tone of this tour overall. But of course, we can't leave the tone discussion without quickly, bringing up some of the gear. Now, in terms of amplifiers, John was using a 1964 Fender Vibroverb through an Alessandro 212 cabinet, and then he was using in combination with that a Dumble Overdrive Special, a 50-watt ODS that he mainly actually used with Dead & Company, and that was through a Two-Rock 212 cabinet. Now, as far as pedals go, we sadly don't really get any great footage of John stepping on pedals, and for the electric pedal board, I almost think that the pedals were just left on for what he needed for his lead tone. But on the pedal board, he had two Ibanez TS10s and a Klon Centaur that was placed in between them. So John was actually able to choose between going TS10 or into Klon Centaur, or Klon Centaur into TS10, or all three of them on, which I think is actually kind of a likely scenario. We've seen him doing it before with the John Mayer Trail. So those pedals were in the mix, and it's I can't tell you guys for certain what John was doing.
Just keep me reminding you.
But let me know again in the comments down below your thoughts on this tone from this tour. I thought it's just awesome, and I wanted to highlight it on the channel as one of the last things I thought I'd talk about for the John Mayer solo tour, at least the very first leg. So you guys, thank you as always so much for tuning into today's video. If you made it this far, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and thank you guys again so much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Anyway, go ahead and click the subscribe button if you like what you see.